Welcome to Fountain of Hope. Here, we explore faith together and seek the true answers to life. We often think that a smooth, successful life is a sign of God's blessing. But have you ever noticed, sometimes it's precisely during those easy, peaceful seasons that we quietly drift away from God. You get promoted at work. Your kids are doing well. Your bank account is finally growing. Everything seems fine, and you start to think, I can actually manage my life pretty well on my own. We still say thanks to God, but honestly, maybe it's just by the way. We still pray, but maybe it feels more like a routine. As for reading the Bible, too busy, maybe later. Attending gatherings? When there's time. We don't consciously reject God. We just slowly loosen our grip, not a sudden rebellion, just a slow drifting as faith quietly moves to the edges of our lives when everything seems just right. But the Bible already warned us about this. In Deuteronomy 8 verses 13 to 14, Moses cautioned the people of Israel, "When your herds and flocks grow large and your silver and gold increase, and all you have is multiplied, then your heart will become proud and you will forget the Lord your God." God knows our hearts. When everything goes smoothly, pride creeps in. We begin to think we don't need Him as much anymore. But prosperity has never guaranteed spiritual safety. On the contrary, it's often the season where our souls fall into the deepest sleep. Maybe that's where your life is right now. On the surface, everything looks good, but deep down, your soul feels dry. Prayer has become rare. The peace inside you is growing thin, and you vaguely know your relationship with God isn't what it used to be. Do you believe this? Maybe it's no accident that you found this video today. Maybe God is gently reminding you, "My child, don't forget, I've always been here." Prosperity should not distance us from God. It should deepen our trust and make our worship even more sincere. But if you realize that success has made your spirit fall asleep, then maybe it's time to wake up again. Life often changes quietly, without warning. Sometimes we're busy planning our next goal, feeling like everything is calm and under control. But then, in a single morning or evening, a phone call, a conversation, a medical report, everything we thought was secure suddenly shifts. We think we are in control of life. But the truth is, we've only been allowed a temporary peace. Remember the sudden pandemic at the start of 2020? In just a few days, the whole world came to a halt. Work stopped, families were isolated, church gatherings moved online. Many lives were forced into an unexpected, unknown mode. During that time, a lot of people were confronted, maybe for the first time, with deeper questions inside. Everything I built through busyness is now on pause. But between me and God, do I still have a real connection? The appearance of these cracks isn't always caused by some dramatic disaster. Sometimes it's simply a quiet exhaustion, a slow, creeping anxiety, a kind of emptiness you can't quite explain. You keep smiling, you keep life moving, but deep down, something inside is starting to crack. But all of this doesn't mean God has left you. The Bible records these words from Job, the man who revered God and yet endured tremendous suffering. The Lord gave, and the Lord has taken away. Blessed be the name of the Lord. When success fades and cracks appear, that's when we start to truly see. Was my faith built on God's blessings or on God Himself? Can you believe this? God allows the cracks not to destroy you, but to gently ask you, will you still trust me? Will you come back to me when you have nothing left? Sometimes, until we are broken, we won't stop. Until we are brought to our knees, we won't look up. The cracks in our lives may just be where God's love begins. We often think we're the ones searching for God, but in reality, He has been waiting for us all along. From the very moment we began to drift away, He never stopped looking. Even when we thought He was silent, He never stopped calling. But He doesn't always call us with thunder and lightning. More often, He speaks with the gentlest, quietest voice. In 1 Kings chapter 19, the prophet Elijah went through a deep spiritual low point. After a great victory over the false prophets, he fled into the wilderness in fear, after Queen Jezebel threatened his life. Exhausted and despairing, Elijah cried out to God, "I've had enough, Lord. Take my life." God didn't immediately correct him. Instead, he first gave him water and bread to restore his strength. Then he led him to a mountain because there God wanted to reveal himself. And something remarkable happened. A powerful wind tore through the mountains, shattering rocks, but the Lord was not in the wind. An earthquake shook the ground, but the Lord was not in the earthquake. A raging fire blazed, but the Lord was not in the fire. Finally, there came a gentle whisper, and when Elijah heard it, he pulled his cloak over his face and stepped out to stand at the mouth of the cave, because he knew God was in that still, small voice. God could shake us with overwhelming force if he wanted to, but more often, he chooses to whisper, a quiet stirring, a soft nudge, or even a video you happened to stumble across today. Maybe right now, in a moment like this, you realize, I've drifted so far from God, and yet he has never left me. He isn't here to condemn you. He's just been waiting for you. Not waiting for you to fix yourself, not waiting for you to become good enough, but simply waiting for you to turn back. Psalm 34 verse 18 says, "The Lord is close to the brokenhearted and saves those who are crushed in spirit." He comes close because he knows you're struggling. He saves because he has already prepared the answer. Maybe you don't even have the strength to pray right now. Maybe you're not sure if you're really ready to return to God, but you can feel it. He's calling you, not shouting, not forcing you, just whispering through the storm. "My child, I'm here." You might wonder, "I've been cold for so long. Would God still care?" Or you might think, "Why would I go back? I can't even respect myself anymore." But listen, God's love for you has never been conditional. It's not because you performed well that he draws near. It's because when you're broken, he draws even closer. In the New Testament, we see Jesus not seated high above in the temple, but walking through the wilderness, waiting at wells, sitting beside the sick, visiting the homes of tax collectors. He sought out the lost, the broken, the repentant hearts. And today, you could be one of them, not because you deserve it, but because he wants you. You don't need to have everything figured out before you come back to God. "Lord, are you still there?" And the answer is, "I've always been here." When you hear his call, maybe deep inside, you've already started to whisper back, "Lord, I want to come home to you." That is a beautiful moment. But returning to God isn't just an emotional high. It's a journey that calls for real steps. God isn't asking you to be perfect before you come back. He's not demanding a massive transformation overnight. He's simply asking, are you willing to start today, just a little closer, each day? Responding to God isn't just about a moment of emotion. It's about choosing him every single day. It's easy to remember God in the middle of a storm, to cry out, to pray with passion, to make new promises. But once the storm passes, we often slip right back into the old rhythms. Busy, exhausted, trying to handle everything ourselves. Prayer becomes optional again. Faith gets squeezed into the corners of our lives. And that is when we need to be most alert. Jesus said in John 15, "I am the vine, you are the branches. If you remain in me and I in you, you will bear much fruit." Not connect occasionally, not reach out only when there's trouble, but remain in me. The fruit of faith isn't produced in one moment of repentance. It's grown day by day, season by season, choice by choice. So if you've heard God's gentle call, don't stop at feeling moved. Start rebuilding a steady connection with him. Maybe that means setting aside 10 minutes a day, turning off your phone just to pray a simple prayer. Maybe it means reopening that Bible that's been sitting untouched, even if you only read a few verses at first. Maybe it's simply reminding yourself, even when life feels smooth and emotions are steady, don't drift away. Trusting God is not a panic button we press only in emergencies. It's a continual relationship, a daily response to his heart? Would you be willing to let God not just be your refuge in trouble, but your companion in the ordinary days? God isn't waiting for you only in your suffering. He longs to walk with you in every moment of your everyday life. When you step out the door, when you work, when you take care of your kids, when you're simply staring out the car window, He is willing to walk with you. Responding to God was never meant to be a one-time decision. It's a lifelong, continuous choice. You trust Him, not because you're desperate for help, but because you know He is the true source of your life. Many times we think the high points of faith happen when we're crying out to God, when we experience His power in the middle of storms. But in reality, the truest expression of spiritual life often unfolds, not in the chaos of the waves, but in the quiet, ordinary days. God is never meant to be just our shelter in trouble. He longs to be our companion in everyday life. Do you know what true trust looks like? It's not shouting, "Lord, save me," when the storm hits. That's human instinct. True trust is remembering the one who gives the sunlight, even when the sun is shining bright. In the Bible, Jesus didn't say, "Come find me when you're in trouble." He said, "Always pray and do not lose heart. I am the way, the truth, and the life. Remain in me, and I will remain in you." This is an invitation to dwell in Him, not to visit occasionally, not to stop by briefly, but to walk with Him every single day. Maybe you've drifted far. Maybe you've gotten used to only thinking about God when needs arise. But today, you have a new choice. Choose not to go back to the old pattern of only calling on God in crisis. Choose instead to stay humble in prosperity, to keep drawing near in the ordinary, to walk with Him daily, even when life feels simple and calm, not driven by emotion, not fueled by temporary passion, but anchored in relationship, rooted in the faith that you know He loves you and you are willing to love Him back. Imagine this. If the first words you say when you open your eyes in the morning were, "Lord, today I want to walk with you." If you kept your conversation with God alive even before the pressure came. If you set aside quiet time with Him, not because you need something, but simply because you love Him. What kind of life would that be? That is where the fountain of hope springs up. It's not digging a well when the drought arrives. It's digging deep in your soul ahead of time, so that even in the driest seasons, you have living water. I pray that your response today isn't just a momentary feeling, but the beginning of a whole new path. Not just seeking God in the storm, but walking daily, steadily, faithfully in His love. If today's message touched your heart, feel free to leave a comment and share your thoughts. And don't forget to like, share, and subscribe to Fountain of Hope so we can keep walking this journey of faith together.